Welcome to Difficult Conversation Africa broadcast. I present to you the host, Yinka Olaito.
For more than a decade, the Northeast in Nigeria had faced violent conflicts, mass displacement, and a collapse of critical infrastructures due to Boko Haram insurgents and related instability. While humanitarian assistance and reconstruction programs are ongoing, the scale of the devastation has highlighted the need for innovation and different approaches to different rebuilding. Digital infrastructure, broadband connectivity, and mobile network, digital ID system, e-governance platform, digital payment and data-driven services can transform the recovery and the peace-building effort in the Northeast. It can help to deliver public service more efficiently, support livelihood, improve the transparency, and rebuild social trust in the Northeast region. As displaced population return home and new community emerge, digital tools can be used. In today's difficult conversation podcast, the topic is Beyond Bullets. How can digital solution can be used to resolve the Northeast conflict and solution? And my guest today is Dr. Olushola Said Ayola. Dr. Olushola Said Ayola is a renowned robotic and artificial intelligence scientist with a lot of knowledge in the area of how to use robotic and artificial intelligence to bridge the infrastructure and he had done a lot of advancement in AI at a global scale. Dr. Ayola Said is the founder of Robotic Artificial Intelligence of Nigeria, and I'd like to welcome you, Dr. Said Ayola. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here, sir, and well done on the great work you are doing.
Thank you very much for what you are doing. We really appreciate the effort you are putting in, and we are so much in love with great Nigeria like you who are passionate about bringing using robotic and artificial intelligence. In one of your discovery that you have proposed, I remember you said that artificial intelligence can be used to discover habitation of Boko Haram because it could actually discover smoke wherever smoke is coming in. And I think that was part of innovation. That's the kind of innovation we want to use. Instead of the military arm and software or whatever, or bullets, there could be other form of recovery and combating solution that can help Nigeria. And on that note, that is why we are here today to have that discussion. So we will go to the first question, sir. The big picture: how has prolonged conflict in the northeast Nigeria shaped the region access to digital infrastructure and services?
Wow, thank you very much for that question. The prolonged crisis in the Northeast has tremendously affected, negatively, the entire development of the Northeast, whether it's in the area of access to the farms for farming, which is a major source of revenue for many of the families in these areas, or even the availability of tourists that used to go there to see the games reserves and the forest reserves. It has also affected access for businesses in those areas to very good internet services, because we have innovators network across the country, and many of those who are in the Northeast will complain that they don't really have access to delivery services, don't really have access to the kind of cloud services, the internet services that we enjoy down south. It has slowed down the development, and the most impact is in the aspect of the social media. Many people thinking that the stories of 10 years ago, 7 years ago, is still the story today. So many people would not want to have any plans that would take them to the Northeast. Most times, youth corpers, when they are told to even go there, they try to work out a redeployment, because already the notion story is as bad as 10 years. Now, how do you, if this were not the time of social media, we could manage the information dissemination crisis. But in a case where the media is agog with 10 years of stories, when you search, you will most likely be seeing the stories of 10 years ago, and it will affect plans. So it is a big concern. I worry about the young ones who are there, because they would not be seeing the same level of development as we see here. Any attempt to visit the Northeast, you may come across settlements that are dispersed. There is not enough, let me say, developmental work in these areas. And it is because the insecurity has been worse than now, whereby civilians could be killed just in the marketplace or even in the mosque or in the churches. So nobody really knows where is safe. And there is a lot of work to be done now to do what I call orientation properly, perhaps some kind of media war to make sure that we defend the little progress that we are making in this area, so that we can open up more spaces, not just for the Nigerians in the Northeast, but even Nigerians in the Southwest, Southeast, North Central, to be able to even know that they have places they can go and expand their ventures. So we really are affected by the crisis in the Northeast, and we look for lasting solutions.
Thank you, Dr. Aola. I think one of the points that you also made is that beyond the economic and all other issue, image of the North is that of image of a terror zone that need to be corrected, so that people can actually begin to think of going there to visit and to do a lot of things they used to do. The game reserve and all the international festival they used to have in that region, people are now afraid to go there. And I think that that's why this conversation is important. It is not about bullets. Bullets may not be able to resolve it, but we will get there. So the next question I want to ask you, sir, is connectivity gap. What are the biggest barriers to internet and mobile network expansion in conflict-affected area of that Northeast, based on your own experience?
Well, I think the biggest stumbling block to internet connectivity in the Northeast particularly, is that of the security side of communication. Because even if there is no problem with having towers and masts in the vast northern space, there is the aspect of, if we allow perfect internet connection in remote areas, then it could be used for negative purposes. So for that reason, there was a time that the Nigerian security agencies, agreed to shut down some accessibilities, some access to internet and communication. But over time, there has been improvement in this area, because as more and more territories are regained by the Nigerian forces, we can then say, okay, let's return to normalcy, let's get life back to normalcy. Then in making sure that there is enough access to internet, the federal government I think this particular regime rolled out a 774 internet, optical fiber internet access across the country, hoping that many local governments will have the presence of optic fiber internet, infrastructure. But also is Starlink. With Starlink, you don't need all the wiring and the masts and all. Nigeria generally is covered under the Starlink internet service provision. So what that means is that even the remote area, as long as they have access to Starlink, they can have internet. Starlink is developed by SpaceX of Elon Musk. But we know that the affordability of internet is the main barrier, not really the availability of it, but the affordability. And for many people, fiber optics, Starlink may be very expensive for some people if they're not running a business with it. But for those who really need services, they can always use the fiber optics. Has it got to every nook and cranny? Maybe not yet, but it's still being rolled out. What would also be a challenge is the masts, because if telecommunication companies were to have, perfect internet distribution across the Northeast, there's need to be able to go maintain this mast in forested areas. Mast maintenance requires, taking your fuel there when the diesel runs out, making sure that the cables are intact and there are no bandits destroying any of these things, and being able to respond quickly or have an on-site security guard. But for rural areas like that, even train tracks are not safe, let alone masts in the middle of nowhere. So there have been efforts. There have been efforts to look at, is it possible to drive, or let me say fly a drone across several of our national, or let me say national security infrastructure to maintain their safety and security. And that is still something that is being looked into, because if we talk about drones, there are some limitations with drones, and that's the thing. But I believe that, again, it's a two-way thing. Do you want to invest heavily in internet infrastructure that may end up being used to coordinate attacks? Or do you want to get there gradually in areas where at least we know Nigerian security forces have taken full control of those spaces? But now that we know that in the Northeast, there's development already been projected, and there are also IDP, internal displaced camps, I think that NGOs should go out there not only to provide food, but also to provide access to digital services like internet in the IDP areas, if there is Starlink or if there is optic fiber in those specific areas, because there is not much you can do today in terms of skill acquisition without access to the internet. You can distribute laptops as much as you want, but without access to the internet, they are cut off from the rest of the global advancement. So I think focusing on areas that we have stronghold, which of course today now is almost like 95%, hopefully, there should be enough access to internet in certain pockets of spaces in the Northeast.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that one of the things that issue that you raise is that non-profit organizations should go into that place. But you and I know, Dr. Ayola, that the paucity of fund is affecting almost every non-profit across the globe now. And maybe we should put that load at the door of the federal government, because it's not every NGO. And don't also forget that there are issues with non-profit about their collusion and collaboration with terrorists and all of that. So while we may say NGO, I think that federal government should lead that or have a private government and private partnership. I think that's my own opinion. Now, this is where this is the question that I really want to, and that because you did something around that when the Northeast crisis was really, really in high tension. Early warning systems. How can digital and some of the things, and I want you to give us case study of some of the things that you have done. How can early warning system, in terms of early warning system, how can digital tools help prevent or reduce escalation of conflict in that fragile community? And what have you been doing? I share that I've had where you say this is how to actually discover the habitation of terrorists in I think like 2-3 years ago.
Okay, thank you. Now, the aspect of, from the question you've asked, how can we reduce conflict and promote peace? The first is government presence. If we have 24/7 presence of government across every nook and cranny of the country, then we can reduce conflict. Because if you look at the news, most times the conflicts are not confrontational. There are people go attack a village, they leave the place before the government forces will then go there and realize that they have left. Sometimes they attack barracks that were not ready for battle. Then by the time reinforcement gets there, they have left. So there has not really been confrontational. That means that if we have an active system whereby whenever terrorists or bandits show up, they meet a fully prepared system of response, I think that will drastically reduce conflict. But again, in a case where we are dealing with the kind of attacks we see, which is called guerrilla warfare, you cannot really predict where the forces of the the terrorists will
be coming from.
it's difficult to spread your activity. So what AI does, what digital system does for government is to quickly help scan the entire geographical space and predict where the next attack will come from. And when it comes to predicting using AI, you need data. Data about what? Number one, data about where these attacks have been predominant. Data about what the signals have been. For example, you have a case where you have helicopters flying across the northeast, searching for bandits and so on. Then you see someone who does not look harmless. I mean, who looks harmless, moving in a group. I mean, you see people moving in a group. They look harmless, no weapons, nothing. You allow them to move. Then somehow, when they get perhaps 10 kilometers from where you saw them, there is an attack coordinated by the enemy forces. So the question would be, could it therefore be that along that path, they have their armory somewhere? Then that can inform some level of proper analysis and investigation. But so what we are thinking of, what I'll mention what we proposed before. I'll mention what we are currently proposing. So what we proposed before now, about, like you said, 3 years ago, was the development of drones that can sniff the presence of carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. And by studying the trajectory of carbon monoxide in the atmosphere, one can reverse that algorithm to see where on the surface of the earth, where on the ground, did the carbon emanate from. Because we are of the opinion that in the forested areas that are not habited, that's largely oxygenated. So you don't really have enough carbon, incomplete combustion rising to the skies or to the atmosphere. So if you have any reason to detect that particular space up there is heavily contaminated by carbon monoxide, it means that on the ground in that so-called forest, you either have power generator sets running, producing whatever kind of IED, or you have people cooking en masse for their officers or their soldiers, or you have some form of transportation, whether it is bikes or vehicles moving around, or even some form of limestone, whatever building or construction. It tells us that there is some human activity at this ground level, from above. So what that was supposed to do for us was that by flying a drone across a space that we already know is an enemy territory, because we can't go by foot due to a number of IEDs, planted on the ground, then it could mean that particular detected habitat is an enemy habitat. But to do this, you need drones flying for long hours at far distance, because whoever is controlling the drone will not be near the drone, will allow the drone to go far into the enemy territory. We had conversations with those who know a lot about security, and then the point they made was any drone of such nature has to be military grade, not the kind of drone we get in the laboratory here, or that we make, and must have been tested. But for someone like me, not being a military person, not having the training, I would normally not want to go beyond civilian approach.
Exactly.
The point was, hand over this knowledge to the Nigerian architecture, the military architecture. They will know what to do with it. So there was that transfer of knowledge at that stage. I reclined. But what I came up with later on, which is what we are beginning to preach about now, is the system called yard code. Yard code, which is just a simple solution to addressing, digital addressing. Because the point remains that when people travel within the Northeast and they are kidnapped, how do we trace where they are? How do we trace where they have been taken to? How do we determine the particular location? Because I am simply tired of people saying that, we found this particular group of terrorists, or we were taken to this particular enclave, without being able to pinpoint the location Because unlike in the urban area where you can say Mafoluku Street, in that particular kind of area,
exactly.
based on, oh, we crossed 3 rivers, we did this, we did that. So the idea was, can we build a digital addressing system that works offline everywhere across in Nigeria, so that wherever anybody wakes up and finds himself, he can report the exact location using a sort of postcode-like characters. For example, GQ9U88 refers to a particular field in Nigeria. So if somebody tells you, oh, my location, or this was where they took us to, we can then begin to use that as data to inform some AI predictions. Now, what that solution also does is what we call the monitor me. So we have people who have been working in their farms. They get kidnapped working in their farms, or they get shot at. And the idea is that there was no way to quickly respond. So with this monitor me feature, which also works offline, although it needs the internet to update the server anyway, a person can say, okay, I'm alone on this journey, or I'm alone in my farm, but my mobile app should always remind me every 10 minutes or every 1 hour to enter my PIN number. Once you have not entered my PIN number, it means I'm in danger. Either I've been attacked or I've been kidnapped. So the last location that person was seen, immediately that notice gets to the security forces. Now, the idea is that let us even have an idea of where these attacks are happening, where these kidnappings are happening, and real time. Within 30 minutes of failure to enter the PIN, security forces are notified. So quick response. Because the case of Chibok, for example, was a case of, oh, it was 2 days after before we noticed, and there should be Then number 3, which is also what we are doing in the area of, let me say for pipelines now, crude oil pipelines, even though this can work in every other area, drones flying do not need to always be detecting carbon monoxide. It can also be detecting people on the ground, being able to detect what has changed from the footage we took yesterday at that particular spot versus the footage we are taking today. Because prediction is better than cure. Prediction in the sense that if we can see that there was no shovel, there was no heap of sand, there was no group of people in a particular spot somewhere in a remote area yesterday in the footage we took, and then today the footage we are taking, we have seen shovel. Tomorrow, we fly the drone to that spot again, we see heap of sand. It means that even if people are working overnight, during the day, we're able to detect what has changed in that particular terrain.
Location.
So this is an answer to the question of, can drones fly 24/7 monitoring attacks? No. But drones can fly at intermittent times to see what has changed from the pictures the drone took yesterday to the pictures the drone has taken today. So that way, so it's similar to the monitor me because it's monitoring the area this time around. So anything that has changed can be detected quickly. So that preventive approach, that predictive approach helps government to already know that if we don't act now, the people you see gathering shovel, gathering digging sand, may eventually scoop out our pipelines and take our crude oil. Same thing with the northeast. It's not a day for an attack to be coordinated. There will be days when people will just walk empty-handed without weapons. You would think they are normal farmers. Then the next day, they look for the best area, they are informants. Then the day after that, they look for where is the best place to keep the weapons. So that means that as new pathways refers to where people walk through. As new pathways are being created, footages from above will identify. This used to be a purely green, this particular coordinate area or this particular yard code used to be a purely green space. Why is it that now we are seeing some some sandy pathway? Could it be that people are planning something through this pathway? So that is the kind of information we will get ahead. Now, beyond that is the aspect of the people themselves being able to report quickly any information about their space. So again, on this yard code solution that we are building, there is what we call the gossip. Gossip could mean that it's an unverified information, but it's also to say that there is no smoke without fire. Now, in a case where the gossip is now attached to a location, which is what the yard code gossip means, it means that if I go to a particular place and I witness something terrible, on the app, I can type the story of what I have just witnessed. And once I send it, the location about where that story was taken will also be sent along with it. So that people who are new in that environment will know the stories revolving around that particular area.
Yeah, that's a new development, and I'm happy about that. I'm sure this will not require military intelligence like the other one. So it's just
we need to support the military with different kinds of intelligence, human intelligence, geospatial intelligence as well. So this is the element that they too will use.
Okay, Dr. Ahola, let's look at the aid delivery. What role? I think that you are talking about this a little. I just need maybe an additional few note. What role can, in terms of aid delivery, what role can digital ID and mobile money play in ensuring transparency and accountability in humanitarian effort are fully distributed?
In fact, that is a brilliant question, because already people think that one reason there will never be a solution to crisis like this is if others are profiting from it. So what you don't want is a case where any sort of aid going to IDPs are being diverted. So digital is the solution. Digital in the sense that let us know who we are giving. Let us also monitor what they too are doing with it. It's almost like a cashless policy. I don't think we should be giving money out. I think we should be giving tokens or points. In other words, your money is still with this person. You can only spend it on this, and this in the form of token. So whoever you are spending it to must be approved. It's like when you go to collect loan from the bank will not allow you to spend the money anywhere. They will tell you this loan we are giving you, if it is fridge you want to buy it from this person. If it is air conditioner you want to buy it from this person. If it is because they want to make sure the money only goes to where it should. So that means that digital IDs and digital payment solutions will help us say, you know what, it is not cash we are giving out. And I think that is the simple.
And it's able to track.
Yeah, yes. And that's the simple solution to this idea of let's go and share rice. Because when you share rice today, you know where it's going to end up. Give the people not rice, but tokens. And give the supermarket the rice and the system for collecting tokens in exchange, so that when somebody goes there and says, this is my ID, I've been given this token, I want to buy rice, I want to buy toothpaste, I want to buy this and that, they can say, okay, and they can register who has bought this. So everybody gets. And if you, as the chief of that community, feel that everybody under the community should issue their tokens to you, you have to present your ID on behalf too, because it wouldn't work. So that way, we make sure nobody is being enriched and the situation abates. But a case where one person is being enriched, forget it. No matter what we do, somebody will make sure there is always crisis. Then I should say that this particular aspect of digital solutions may be a challenge where there is hardly internet, because how do we? There's no internet. So the simple answer is offline payments, and not one or two. Many Nigerian youths today have come up with proposed solutions for offline payments. Offline payments that may not be dealing with heavy amount of cash, but at least can allow within a local network people being able to at least transact. So whereby my phone and your phone can click, and when it clicks, the amount of money the app knows on my phone reduces, the amount of money the app knows on your own phone increases. So by that,
Okay.
I am not able to use that my phone, even when there's internet, to pretend as if I have not spent from my money. So there are ways to go about this. It's only a matter.
Thank you, Dr. Ayale. Thank you, Dr. Ayala. Let's look at health access. We are talking of rebuilding now. We are agreeing that the level of insurgency is reducing and then national government is recovering. But in rebuilding, health is a critical issue. And therefore, let's ask what way can telemedicine and digital health record help rebuild healthcare system in these destabilized and displaced locations in the North conflict zone?
3 ways. Number 1, in the area of censorship, I will come to that. Number 2, in the area of chatbots, I will come to that. And number 3, in enabling actual, access to medical information. Now, let me start from the first one. Censorship. Already in the Northeast, there are, special support for the ladies, those who may be going through a lot of trauma also, helping them to recover and so on. But what we know is that as humans, there could be the room for abuse of these privileges, or let me say, irresponsible use of these opportunities. So, how are we going about monitoring interactions within these remote areas, whether it is between those who supervise and those who are the less privileged, or whether it is between those who are the caretakers, those who support medically, and those who are the patients? Any system for censorship, monitoring the language, monitoring the discussions, monitoring the activities. This is number 1, where solutions in tech can come in for quick reports, even if it is just a simple AI solution that can listen to conversations, detect the wrong use of words, and report against it. That is a basic technical solution that can be deployed digitally. Number 2 is the area of, like I said, chatbots. We cannot have all the, how many medical experts do we even have in Nigeria that we can now send to IDPs? And interestingly, that is where it is needed, because any basic disease outbreak can quickly spread. Now, because we can't send the few medical doctors, all of them, to that place, how about the use of, let me say, medical booths, where someone can walk into the booth and speak to an AI solution verbally? It is possible. But in the past, the problem was language barrier. AI systems that can answer medical questions already exist, but they listened in English. So what has now been developed by a number of tech experts, including the federal government and one other organization called Awari, is a, let me call it, well, it's a chatbot. I mean, not a chatbot now, a text-to-speech and speech-to-text system that can detect Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and Pidgin English, and can also verbalize it in our Nigerian accent. Now, all it takes is for us to assemble that solution along with the existing medical chatbots that we said already exist to these remote areas, so that people can walk into these booths and make some confessions about their health and get themselves attended to. Now, the third one is the actual medical personnel being able to pick stories that touch and respond. While the chatbot is being used, people going to discuss their traumas, going to discuss their medical challenges, and even reporting abuses. We want to be able to then pick stories that are very sensitive, that are very of interest, and escalate to the necessary medical stories. So that the story will go unnoticed just because AI is the one responding. Now, all these solutions go together. And if the question is internet, on top of these medical booths can be Starlink or any other form of internet access. So I believe that, well, if we will not say NGOs alone, federal government providing the enabling environment, interacting with companies that have corporate social responsibilities locally, Nigerian companies, to actually build some of these things and let us build presence once again. Because one thing I can tell you for free is that the moment big companies are able to move into the Northeast.
Dr. Ayola, because of our time, I will merge all the remaining questions together because we always want to have, maybe we'll have a second. Let's talk about local ownership. How can community themselves drive the adoption of sustainability of digital infrastructure? One, risk and ethics. What are the potential downsides, such as data privacy, in the use of digital infrastructure in combating this? And then public-private partnership. How can government and telcos help in this development?
Thank you. Now, there is something we have to begin to do in Nigeria. Whenever tech solutions are being deployed to communities, the traditional way of doing things in Nigeria, there used to be chiefs in every community with their own responsibilities. In Ibadan, for example, or in the Southwest, for example, there can be Oloye, that's the chief in charge of this. Everybody knows is the person in that area. So also we should identify.
That's true.
Maybe they are not going to be all that knowledgeable in the field, but we should identify those in the villages who would take particular interest in protecting any infrastructure being given to any community. The days of we have commissioned this lab, we have commissioned this hub in this remote area should not just be. We should be handing it over to whoever the king or the community leaders are assigned as the head of tech or modern infrastructure in that community. That way it's easy. It's just like you donate borehole to a community. You must tell someone is the one responsible. If not, it will be difficult to manage in the future. Now, what that also means is that we must gradually educate the people in these communities, because for local ownership to be there, appreciation must be there. They must also build their career in line with it.
Okay.
So if you donate internet facility and you don't train them on how to use it, on how to repair access to it or anything, it will eventually go out of service. So the same thing with any tech, whether it's telemedicine or anything, infrastructure, it has to be made that somebody somewhere is being sponsored to learn this. And we have seen it in some areas, particularly in the South, where people are granted amnesty and trained in overseas on things like this. We need to ensure that deliberate effort is made to train some of these youths in these areas, and they must stay in that neighborhood, in that area, to deploy whatever is being given to them. Then
data privacy, data privacy, risk and ethics.
Data privacy, risk and ethics, these are discussions that will never stop, because the more we apply artificial intelligence, the more data we seek. And there is the idea of need more data, give us more data. Then there's the idea of, if I give you more data, you will know more about me. But let's look at the story of people like, companies like Facebook. With Facebook having access to your likes and your comments, they are able to determine what you like. So when adverts are being pushed to you, they push only the correct adverts that you might like, rather than you seeing adverts that you personally don't like. So what this means is that AI needs your data to be able to provide solutions for you. So if we can convince people that even if we are building AI systems based on our data, based on our lifestyle and our languages and our conversations, as long as it is being used to help us, then we are safe. However, people should be given control of what is off limits for them. So in this case, the ethical use of AI is to announce to people we are collecting this data, and then they have the right to remove their own data from the record. So these are the things that we just have to abide by. Allowing to make sure that people are responsible means we must educate those who are building AI systems on the ethical issues as well, so they don't abuse it and not realize. In the area of public-private partnership, I think already a lot is being done in that area. Many people are already beginning to build solutions and then investors are coming in along with the government, because most investors will not come into any deployment of any solution unless there is a government policy or body language in that line. So already we are seeing to back it up, because investment in digital systems can be very, very volatile if there is no government, because one policy can come in and throw it off guard. So this is what we are seeing. Government is providing regulatory framework, government is providing leadership, and then the people and the businesses are bringing the solutions. And in most cases, it's about government making sure the people understand why it is useful and giving the people the knowledge to acquire these solutions. These people pay for the solutions. It helps the private sector to make some money and also continue to build on these technologies. So that is that. But you said we should include something.
Future outlook. So just a one word about what do you see?
Well, that is exactly what we see. So we see a future where more digital and innovative solutions will come up, because people, if you don't realize, if you look closely, you will see that many young people today are participating in hackathons. Hackathons. For example, many of the clashes we see beyond the Northeast is the aspect of herder and farmer. How can we protect the farms and also allow the herders to move within safe spaces? There's the idea of geo-fencing. So with geo-fencing, a GPS tracker is placed on the cows that helps the cows to know when they have crossed into the wrong geolocation and give them a signal either by a sound or an electric shock so that they can return to wherever they should have been. Same way, the farms are also being protected by cameras so that when cows or any unnecessary animal crosses into a particular sound is released. What we are seeing is innovative ideas. In the next few 4 to 5 years or 10 years, we are going to be seeing actual investment in concreting these solutions so that it will become normal, whereby it wouldn't be a political solution of let's not allow cows to roam about. It will be a tech thing that, are you still doing this the old way? There is now this device you can put on your cows. Because believe it, the cows are precious to some people, while the farms are precious to some others. So let us give everybody a technical device that protects them and not allow conflict. And this is the kind of thing young people are building. So imagine in the next 5 to 10 years, what will now become commercially available. So we look forward to the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ayola Said, a robotic and artificial intelligence specialist with renowned outstanding record in this area. And thank you for sharing your insights about how to reduce or eliminate the conflicts in the Northeast Nigeria beyond bullets and all of that. Thank you for the insight. I hope that in next no distant time, we can come back to you and see the outcome of these your activities. Thank you for being a good Nigerian, and thank you for investing your energy and training more people in the area of robotic and artificial intelligence as a way to solve constant solution in Nigeria. On that note, I'd like to say thank you to our listener. It's an opportunity to have you. Please always comment and drop us DM for your information. We also say that you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it's important to keep the conversation going. And if you want to reach us, just reach us through info@difficultconversationafrica.org. See you in the next edition. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this episode. For inquiry, please send an email to info@difficultconversationafrica.org. Telephone 0809 3160 591. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @Difficult Conversation Africa. See you soon.